Good morning, traders and investors. Are you guys ready to get back into the trading action right here on Benzinga? The boys are here. I got Lord Ryan. He's back in the home office, so I'm excited to have him back. That's what he does best. And of course, Zunaid in the house, the Phoenix Trading. Let's get it started. You guys know where you're at. Live trading with Benzinga. Who's getting that chicken? Because guess what? Boy's hungry today. Let's go get that money.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Those words have been dancing around my head all night. It's Vegas lore, that phrase.
The boys are back. We're ready to get after it. Definitely. Good morning to everyone out there. And I don't know if you guys caught on Friday, but we're here all week. And that's all thanks to you guys out there. Why? Well, because you guys hitting the like button, things like this, sharing the show. Those are all the kinds of things that can get us on longer and shows everyone at Benzinga how much you guys appreciate us being on here for live trading. So a big thank you from me to you guys out there, and definitely smash up those likes. Let's get it started. All right. How was your weekend, team? What did you guys caught some football? What were you guys doing? Hanging out?
Yeah, man, I definitely watched football. I mean, that was pretty awesome Sunday for me. I'll just leave it there. Bears getting the first pick on a wild play, just unbelievable. But Mitch, I'd also like to take a minute to thank everyone for their support here. I'm excited to be able to go all week. This is probably going to affect my trading plan a little bit later in the year, as I normally don't trade on Friday, and I think we might try to take a different approach this year. The other thing that I would encourage you is that in addition to all of the wonderful support that you give us on a daily basis, think about feedback. Think about things that you'd like to see. Think about things, can we make this better for you, whether it be more enjoyable, more informative, things of that nature. Remember, we want to keep this more about process, not about an alert show or an alert room, right? So as far as an educational side and things like that, think about that feedback and give it to us. You can email any one of us individually or the shows at benzinga.com email. We want to make this better and better and better. In 2023, we're just starting off the year, trying to take this as high as we can possibly go. So, Mitch, I just wanted to kind of throw that out there. Really appreciate you thanking everybody. I'm excited. I'm excited to be doing this some more.
Yep, definitely. I'm going to start off with first my aspect, of course, and then we'll go to probably Ryan. He can take a look at how he sees the SPY. And like always, sometimes what I see might not be what Ryan sees or Zunaid sees, right? Like always, we're different traders, and that's what it's all about here too, is understanding that traders can trade differently and still find the green. All right, we'll see what happens today as we did get that rally on Friday. Of course, you guys know I wasn't in agreement or whatever it may be on that rally, but we did rally past here towards 389. Now what we're going to look for is I'm going to look for either a one-day takedown or continued strength. And so with this being mentioned, I think that we can get some movement today. What would be surprising is more chop action, kind of sideways action up here. Now that we've broken out of the range, do we come right back into the range? Or do we hang out up here? If we hang out up here, then I definitely think that it's going to be viewed more as a bullish run. But if we come right back down below the 386, let's say right out the gates, just a quick down move, down, well, that will show me more and more that that last move could have been a little bit of a bull trap, and we're right back into the range. We'll see what happens today. Like always, you guys make your own investment decisions. Let's kick it to Ryan and see what he sees in the markets. And then, of course, we got our hoodie trader.
All right. So first things first, let's talk about some of the bigger cap names. Some of the names that I want to start with here are the Chinese names. These are, of course, names that I don't personally trade, but really have given us multiple opportunities to trade recently. The one thing that I will say here is that definitely preaching being careful on these names, but it's tough to see when you look at a stock like Pinduoduo here, which has been 40 a number of times and now back up here close to 100. A lot of these names still have some of that underlying momentum and can produce trading opportunities throughout the course of the day. So Pinduoduo here, I think if we see some increased strength from some of the Chinese names, a lot of this is being related to the loosening of its COVID policies, as well as other investments. If we see continued momentum here, several of these names could be in play, and Pinduoduo has been one that's really, really been strong. Names that this would include would be names like Pinduoduo, Alibaba, even NIO and XPEV, which have the electric vehicle theme as well. So Pinduoduo through 100, as long as we can keep up some big momentum or some strong momentum, this stock might be a good play. And then the same with BABA. The other big cap that I wanted to talk about here was Apple. One of the things that we talked about last week was a potential bounce off 120, and we didn't really get there. We got as far down as about 100. We broke through 125, so 124 and change. And we've bounced really 6 points since that. Now, the interesting thing here, if we zoom into some of the intraday charts, we're really kind of hanging out right around Friday's intraday high. And Friday, this stock made just a huge move to the upside. So it'll be interesting to see where Apple decides to go next. To me, I think that it probably wants to try to take out 131. That will be my best guess. The next move here would be up, and then we'll really have to see where we go from there. If we continue to break down, if we break beneath 130, I really think we can go as low as 125. Maybe not all in one day, but this week. And if 125 doesn't hold, 120 is right back on deck. We got a lot of economic data this week and a lot of different prints that's going to cause volatility. So we want to keep an eye on this and kind of have a plan in place for either direction. So Apple is another one that I kind of want to watch. I think that this is going to go higher, but if this breaks down, you could see a pretty quick move down. Now, as far as some of the smaller cap names here that are on the movers tool, we do have a couple. AMYT, I believe, was a buyout here this morning. Next one here is going to be APGN. Now, remember, select biotechs have really been the names that have been moving for us quite a bit. Sometimes we'll wake up and these things will be up 100, 150, 200%. So this is definitely where the volatility is. Now, APGN here, looking at this, we've outlined some key levels like we always do. The first thing that I want to see is 160, but I also really want to see 172 come down. I want to see this trade to the upside here. And the reason is because we really don't have a whole lot of volume since this initial push, which took us above 2. I want to see some of these stockholders or sellers get cleared out here. So I'd really like to see a buy signal for me would be across through 172. We currently have the VWAP at 175. That would be the next spot on deck here on APGN. Next here is going to be CNTX. This is Context Therapeutics. This is another one that pushed up right out of the pre-market open to 142, came all the way back into 91 cents, went all the way back up to 142, and is hanging out here around 110. 103 is the level that I have, but really 103 down to $1 here is going to be the point of no return. I think if we're below that level, it's just a no touch to me until it can prove that it wants some more upside. So we'll see if this can break. It'll be interesting to see if it does take out that 142 spot to the upside. I might try to trade this on a move through 124 if it has some good buying volume. Sonnet Biotherapeutics, ticker SONN. This is definitely a stock that we have traded before. You can see here we have another really, really nice range. High of 214 came all the way back into 158. Now it's pushing back up towards 2. We actually just took out the VWAP, which is about 180 and a half. And that's just above our key level of 175. So again, I'd really like to see this one actually come back in and test 175, get us a really good entry, or hang right around the VWAP, which again is about 180. So we'll see if we get either of those spots. Next here is going to be Paya. This is Paya. Oh, I'm sorry. This one I believe is getting a cash infusion. It's not really trading around here. OCGN is the other one here. Now this one a little bit easier to trade, right? 163, 165. A break of that to the upside, I think, puts 182 in play. So we'll try that for a play to the upside. And then the last one that I wanted to mention before I turn it over to the hoodie trader here is Bed Bath & Beyond. We did have a lot of talk about bankruptcy here. We've seen some of the bankruptcy stocks end up going crazy. If you want to trade Bed Bath & Beyond, good luck. Be careful. Really set your stops tight. But this, to me, I'm just going to completely avoid this, even if we do get some of that insane trading that pushes these stocks up when they don't really seem like they should be up. Bed Bath and Beyond, to me, no trade, but we will keep it. Zunaid, what do you got for us, my man?
I'll just get. What's up?
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you, buddy. We'll just kind of carry it from Bed Bath & Beyond. 180 is a level that if you are interested in trading, you got to go ahead and get over. You can see you had support there, support there, support there. Then you finally got a crack and it flushed all the way down to about the 127s. And now you've got that support being resistance. So if you're looking to trade Bed Bath & Beyond to the upside, for some reason, you want to go ahead and take it above 180. And then if you're trying to play for a bounce, to me, it's $1. That's kind of the only way I try to play this one to the upside on that one. And Jesse, if you're watching, I saw your tweet over the weekend. Oddly enough, it's a brand new account, so I don't even have it logged in on my phone. So when I tried to log in and reply back to you, I couldn't, but I definitely will respond to you here later today. Let's see what else we've got on. Where's my thing? There it is. Okay, cool. So we've got that on Bed Bath & Beyond, crack of 180 to the upside. Bounce play is going to be at $1. Let's go ahead and take a look at the SPY. What a move we had since we got the bounce from the 180 level, or also the previous close, which was about 379.38. And then you went to the upside. If we kind of go to the 5-minute here, just kind of quickly want to talk about how you had we talked about this, how you had it was at the 84, yeah, 384, resistance, 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 and you finally cracked semi-retest, and didn't all the way go back to 384, which is why I could not get filled, and then you kind of moved to the upside. Then you had 386 that kind of became an area of resistance, and then that one finally we broke and headed to the upside. So where do we go from here? I'm actually quite not sure. I kind of want to go ahead and play this from about the 389s. And by the way, if you go ahead and look at this, interesting enough, we always talk about support becoming resistance and resistance becoming support. Here was the resistance on Friday, which is now support on pre-market. So again, always got to look left. It's not always going to work. There is no 100% accuracy on anything. But, you want to set yourself up with probability and find support resistance by looking left and then continuing with your trade plan when you look right. For me right now, I don't necessarily see anything I like on the SPY. There's just no levels where I'm like, yeah, a bunch of times it's hit this, that, the other. Let's go ahead and take a look at the daily. I think we finally have broken out of the consolidation area. Oh, just about. Yeah, I think when we open up pre-market, we'll be out of this area that we've been in for so long. Where is it? Right about here. Looks like we're finally going to be above it. So maybe if you get a crack test at about 388, you can go ahead and play it. But to be honest, nothing that I fancy too much on SPY. Taking a look at the Q, similar story to me. Nothing really crazy there. I'd really want to play. Maybe the 266s would be the only thing I'd consider on this one here. Taking a look at Apple, 128s. If it wants to come down and retest it, I'd be interested. You can see you had a little bit of action there. Resistance, 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 which then turned to support. So that'd be the only one where I'd be like, all right, cool. I want to go ahead and play it there. You can see we're waiting for the buy at 124s. Unfortunately, that one never got filled. Taking a look at Tesla, this was a bleeder. Now it's rising up. As soon as it gets past the 110 level, that one's been kind of key. You can see it got up, retested this 110 area, and then to the upside we went. Now it's going to look to see if it can get over 120, which will be somewhat of a key area. And let's see what we've got. Yeah, about 118 to 120 will be something to watch. 124, though, is where I may like to short it. But for now, I'm going to leave it alone. Wanted to get filled on the hundreds. Unfortunately, it only went down to about the 101.25s, so did not get a chance to play that one. AMD, nothing really here that I like that I looked at. Now, this is one that could be the best play that I will participate in if I get the opportunity. And that's going to be buying. Let me go ahead and that's going to be buying NVIDIA at about the 150.09s if it wants to come back. Now, obviously, it's at 153, so it's $3 higher, but I'm not chasing this puppy all the way there. If it wants to come back and test the 150s, cool, I'm in, no problem. but I won't be chasing NVIDIA to the upside. My stop loss on NVIDIA will probably be about $1 or so. I'll probably look to get a buck or two from the move if we go ahead and get that retest of the 150s. Taking a look at Amazon, you can see that it's coming up against resistance here around this 87.45. If it can go ahead and pop up and stay above, we can obviously go ahead and try to see 80s. But for now, I'm going to leave this one alone. NVIDIA might be my only one as I'm going through these charts with y'all here. Don't really see a level for shorting unless, of course, we break the lows here of about 82s, and then we can go ahead and come on down. But till then, staying away. Would not be surprised if this doesn't even crack the 88s and just comes down. But obviously, the market is going to help determine what's going to happen with Amazon. A similar story in Google. You can have resistance around $90 if you're interested in playing that. Not really something that I have played in a while, actually. Ever since it cracked at 92s and the hundreds, I haven't been the biggest fan of it. Now, Microsoft, we've played a bunch together. Come on, just let's go ahead and take a look at left again. Support, turn into, after the crack, resistance, flush, resistance, flush, resistance, couldn't get over it, and now it is. So ideally, I'd love for it to go to about the 228s and then come back to test this 226, and then we can move to the upside. Or I've already got my alert set from last night. The 230.04s would be an area where I'd be okay playing this one if we get a crack above. So that's how I'm going to look to play Microsoft, is above 230. Or if we can get above 228s and then come back to test 226 is how I'd like to play it. Now, Meta has been relatively strong compared to the rest of the market. You had a beautiful, did this one ever go from, I think it was 100. Yeah, it was 100 where it kind of found support right there, and then it just made a beautiful move for the past month or so to the upside. The only way that I would play this one is if it wants to go ahead and come back to test maybe like the 125s or so, but nothing really spectacular that I like. And I think we're about to actually open up here. So I'm gonna look to play.
I just tried to go to the washroom before we open.
Oh no, you're good, bro.
Here we go. Good luck.
Let's see what we get.
SONN first move is a bit of a pull there. Apple's first move is higher. That's what we discussed.
Let's see what we got. JSPR.
Yeah, I think Crow was on JSPR. That was a mover from last week. That might be moving again.
Yeah, I don't see any volume on that.
No, that really needs volume. You're absolutely right. That needs volume and a breakthrough 170 there, Zunaid.
Yeah. SONN. Same thing. Don't really see any volume.
Yeah, and by the way, I glossed over this really quickly because I was trying to hit my list. But Paya, that stock that I inadvertently mentioned, that stock's trading higher because it entered into after NUVEI, entered into a definitive agreement to acquire the company for $975. It's currently at $971. So that's why it's no trade. Again, I'm sorry. I think I glossed over that during the list.
Gotcha.
I noticed that Bitcoin was having a pretty decent weekend. It's kind of selling off here this morning. Interestingly enough, Mara, and we can check in on Riot too, some of the Bitcoin names still holding their gains above Friday's close. So both Mara and Riot up about 20 cents here from Friday's close, despite Bitcoin being a little bit down. Still up overall, I suppose.
Relatively new, looks like IPO, MLEC,
Yeah.
definitely having big moves. It looks interesting for 1302 support. That's an hourly support. I'm going to look for red to green through that. We'll see if it gets down to 13, then bounces back towards 15.
You didn't have your chart. Did you say MLEC? What was the ticker again?
MLEC, correct.
Okay.
This is in the agriculture, agri-tech. Play.
Gotcha,
and so
gotcha.
We'll see what happens. It seems interesting. It's already moved significant amount, right? 140%. We'll see what happens with this one. Of course, lighter name, but if it can hold 13s on a pullback, I kind of like it. All right, looking around out there, EKAS is one, the bigger stock making move. Lulu, of course, on the radar out there. You can see Lulu continue down. Nike's one that we're looking at right now. That spike out the gates. We'll look to see if it gets to 126. That's a dip that was bought. Definitely this pre-market is Nike. You guys can see that right back up there. Let's go to the sectors outlook here. Overall, let's take a look here. What's leading the day? Technology leading the day, consumer cyclical, then energy. On the downside, communication services, defensives, and real estate. Basic materials just slightly into the green there. If you're looking at what's doing well right now, I'd be keeping an eye on aluminum in basic materials. That's doing well there. Technology names, what's getting a nice lift today? Let's take a look here. Looks like solar stocks getting a little lift out the gates here. Software application names like CRM, SAP, Intuit, getting a little bit of a push up. Uber, of course, had some pre-market news as they had their ratings this morning. Don't know if you guys caught that Uber news, but definitely Uber upgraded to overweight from neutral from Piper Sandler. And so you guys can see that Uber was getting the lift in the pre-market, now pulling back. We'll see if it holds pre-market resistance.
And so really quickly on Lulu, I had mentioned this before as a potential swing long, but to be careful for the earnings. Well, that's exactly what happened here, right? It plunged on earnings. They tightened up their forecast, right? Their guidance. The issue here with Lulu is we've really kind of traded into this support area. So the way that I would take a look at this is if we can really kind of hold this, maybe we can start doing some repair work, if you will, on the price. We actually have a pretty decent gap here. So not really in a hurry to buy anything. Definitely want to see if this can actually hold this. What I'd love to see this hold, I mean, we're currently at 291. It really needs to hold 275, but I'd actually even like to see it hold like 285. That'd be a pretty good reaction here after a somewhat poor earnings. I mean, they're still poised to grow. So, and I don't think that their popularity has dropped at all. So in any case, just something to say. Really need Lulu to hold here. I wouldn't be surprised if this ended up reversing.
Drip doing a little bit of a pullback. Don't know if you guys believe oil to the downside, but that looks interesting off the VWAP here. Just going to hold off for right now, but Drip looking interesting off VWAP. Going to be trying to patient. Patience is what's going to pay, I think, in 23. So not trying to overreact to opening movement here, but definitely oil starting to trick to the downside. We'll see if XOM can actually crack. What's going down there, Oxy out the gates. We'll see if those actually hold or what will happen there. Technology overall, let's go to like an NVIDIA. You can see NVIDIA turning back down towards the downside. AMD also turning back to the downside. We'll see if the SPY is able to hold here as it's starting to come down. Did kind of like a little bit of a bull trap to the upside, I feel like, out the gates. Now starting to come down. Now I want to see if it's just going to completely just whoosh down. If it does, I'm going to start getting short on some names. We'll see what happens here.
You've got you're still waiting on NVIDIA here to crack and come on down to about the 150.09s. We didn't want to chase, and for very good reason. As you can see, it's just coming down $3 now from the highs, or $2 from the highs, excuse me. And there's the SPY looking to test the resistance and the support that we had this pre-market at 389.24, as we are about 50 cents away from that.
Seeing some XLE calls. Those are cheapies, though. 6,000 contracts, a 65 strike XLE call. Again, cheapies, if you will. Expires today. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Expires February 17th. Wow. More XLE. Oh, this is puts. Sorry, Mitch. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I'm just calling out movers. I've been trying to use more and more to call these out for you guys. I know you guys like the bigger movers, so definitely keeping on track with my Benzinga Pro moving here. CINC is getting a big lift today. It's kind of sideways here out the gates. But definitely one to keep on watch. Also, AMYT shows up. What do I see a lot here? A lot of times I just want to see if there's a theme here. What do I see? Biotechs, biotechs, biotechs. So if you're looking for anything that's running, smaller names probably, or making big moves, might be in the biotech industry.
AMYT, a buyout there. So that move is pretty much done. CINC, on the other hand, I don't think this was bought out. This is just retrace some of its move. Trading higher after AstraZeneca announced it will acquire the company for 26 in share, 26 per share in cash. Excuse me. So those top two on the movers list are going to be buyouts there.
One bouncing back that had made a move on Thursday, VYNT. That one's bouncing back. And RVNC doesn't look like the worst one either. That one's at least a little higher price. Already made a nice little rip here. Is back at VWAP. Bounced off below the 25. Now recovering the 25. Doesn't look like a bad level to watch. That's RVNC. Don't know too much about it, but just trying to put these on your radar.
There's a bounce from the SPY. From the level that we drew out, the 389.24s missed it by maybe about 10 cents or so. But let's see what's going on with Bed Bath & Beyond. If anything, nope, nothing really happening there. Yeah, I went ahead and tested that 148, and then it came to the upside. 180 though is what you needed to crack.
Macy's, another leg lower there. Macy's was strong last week, starting to get weak. They gave out a guidance on Friday that definitely started hitting them. You could look for KSS to get hit, DDS, kind of those types of stocks, those department stores taking a beating today, definitely getting a hit. All right, I wanted to see how Win was doing on the day. I feel like that's a bullish stock play because of the news that's coming out of China this morning saying that people are lining up just to get passports, like kind of a passport stamp so that they can go and travel. And Win already having a decent day already. Going to keep an eye on that one, but it did do a nice little pullback to VWAP. We'll see if it takes out 95.50, starts making a move up. But you can see here on Win, this is one that I thought would turn around if there was any kind of China really COVID spikes, but we saw the spikes and that hasn't really turned anything around in Win. It's up there to 95.70. Could get all the way up to maybe around the 100 as it keeps pushing on. LVS is another one you can watch. MLCO is the last one I would give in that industry.
Yeah, those three casinos have high exposure to Macau, so that makes sense given the COVID policies and what you were just saying about the breakouts and everything.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see that people are lining up to do travel.
You know what it is, though, Mitch? I think you're seeing the same thing you saw elsewhere, right? First of all, those people love to gamble, and that's not a slight. This is just what they do with their free time and their free money. And COVID is only going to stop that for so long. We saw similar things across the world. Now that the curtain's being pulled back, we're seeing the same thing in China.
Yep, and I think you'll continue to see travel be the one area where China will kind of show some strength there. And so you can look at whatever you want to look at in there. I think gambling is one of the ways to definitely catch that trend. So that's LVS and Win.
You know, one of the other things is that if we do, there's a lot of talk about a recession and global economic slowdown and all of that stuff. Alcohol and other vices like gambling are likely to be higher in that environment. So that's something else to just kind of factor into this entire situation. If we do enter a global slowdown, it wouldn't be shocking to see gambling and things like alcohol or maybe even weed.
And
Maybe
for
not
that
from
being
China.
mentioned, Philip Morris is up today and it's had a decent daily chart. It's actually looking bullish on the daily chart. I don't trade tobacco too often because I'm not the biggest fan, right? But at the end of the day, look at the chart, right? Chart speaks for itself. It's trying to get back above the 103.50s today, pulled back here towards that level, pushed up there towards 104.35s. We'll look to see if we get through the 104.50s on the upside. Philip Morris. All right, catching up with the chat. What's going on out there? Definitely, Migo, the Crow. What's going on? D-Factor, smash up those likes. Let's get them going. See if we can get to 300 likes today. And then, of course, we can keep going with some extra. Altria. Yeah. I didn't even look at Altria, but sure, it's up also.
APGN is halted here. Great call, Crow. Were you in that from lower? That was one of the stocks on our list there. Bro, clicked on the wrong thing. Looked on the wrong thing. So, Crow, you're looking for a break of 2 here. What did we have on that VWAP? We just crossed the VWAP. We actually talked about that as potential play here. Let's see what we got. So that 172, 170 area from the VWAP, we blew right through that here, stopped at 187. 189 was that next key level. Crow, I think you're right. I think a 2 test here on deck. Good stuff on that. You got it, Jim. I think that see, and this is why we identify these levels, right? Let's go back. This is the screen that I showed you before. When we were looking at this before, this is the data that we had, right? APGN hadn't popped yet. And one of the things that we said is that the 160 key level is not something that I'm necessarily going to follow. Instead, what I'd rather see it take out is that 172, which lines up pretty well with the VWAP. Well, look what happened. The VWAP actually came in as the price sold off. We pounded right through that 168, 170, 172 area right into the halt. I think as long as we have any type of buying volume, this goes higher here. But this is exactly what we talked about prior to this happening. Exactly.
All right, Apple's just hanging out sideways here. It has a bullish setup above the 131s for like kind of that VWAP bounce. I'm looking to see if it rejects this. I'm not trying to jump into it too fast. Just trying to see which way it's going to break out or break down here. And I think it's very – no, you're good, man. I'm just used to controlling it.
I'm trying to help you.
No, you're good. So 130 90s, right? If we get towards that 131, you'll get closer towards that trend line break there. We'll see if we get that push. SPY overall, right, kind of battling right now. Look at WWE staying strong, just to put that out there. But SPY trying to battle here, right? Trying to battle, try to get back into the 391s. We'll see right now. I think Apple's a good way of looking at that. If we don't get this breakout, this 131 breakout, I think we'll test right back down towards that 130.75. Let's see what happens here. And also, with that being mentioned, how's the Tesla Dragon trying to bounce and do the same, right? Will this turn right back down? I feel like eventually Tesla turns right back down and cracks through that 100, but it could get towards 120. It's already hit it once today, 120.40. Let's see if it really takes off here. SPY up there to 390.68. There's Apple taking lead, right? Apple likes to take lead sometimes. It's looking like it's taking lead right now. We'll see if it takes it through the high and if the SPY can keep pushing through here.
RVNC through 26 and through its high right out of the open here for more. This is another therapeutic company. So this fitting in with the theme that we have identified for a while now. These select biotechs. Becca calling out ChargePoint, huh? Let's see. ChargePoint up, what, almost 7% here today? Nice little move. Actually, this formation looks very similar to the Revance Therapeutics that we just looked at. Push right out of the open, a little bit of a pullback, and then new highs here. Great volume here on ChargePoint. Good spot, Becca. Let's see if we can find some key levels here for ChargePoint. All right, so it looks like it might try to test this high that we put in. What was this? January 3rd. This is to be the first trading day of the year. 987. Looks like this is on deck here. Definitely making a move towards that. Let's see if the volume holds up here.
Definitely a little bit of a slower day. You guys in the chat, let us know if you guys are trading anything or is something's on your radar. It looks like Ron is throwing up the AMD. I saw AMD was pulling back, probably coming back through the VWAP now. Yeah, it's getting a little bit of a push there. We'll see if that can continue. NVIDIA is another one you want to look at to see if it gets the next lift right there. You see it lagging a little bit behind AMD, but nice little push. Micron's another one to see it catch up and play like kind of the laggard on those three. And Soxel, if maybe you're just trying to do some day trading momentum, is getting a little bit of a push. We'll see if that can continue. SPY overall at 390.86. And let's look at the Qs for that being mentioned. As the Qs are higher than the intraday high, that little push, we just got another little push there. So as you can see, some of those tech names going with the Qs this morning. We'll see if they turn back down. Qs will definitely be something to watch if it breaks 270. But if it can hold here, it's not looking too bad on the Qs, and that would affect, of course, some of these tech stocks like AMD and NVIDIA. Shop till you drop, says Rick. Take a look there. Shop. Growth name getting a little bit of a push up. Not a bad one to keep watch. Actually want a piece of Shop for long term. And I'm talking long term, team. I'm talking like 5-10 years. So I'm gonna get some kind of longer term together sooner here than later. I've just been waiting for another downturn in the market to try to get some of this long term names, but definitely Shop is on that radar just to give you guys my perspective.
And really quick, credit where credit is due. Great call there, Crow. You're an asset to this community here. APGN did break too. So remember, we had a pretty good plan here right from the beginning. Really wanted to not be faked out with this pullback right out of the open. Identified the correct levels. This thing into a halt, popped, got as high as 210. We'll see if it sets up again. So 210 now actually represents an intraday double top if you include that pre-market from earlier. So I would say this is probably not done. Probably have another setup here on APGN to come. Great call there, Crow. Great job.
Strong move by the SPY there, now towards 391.
Would love for APGN to hold above 2. I'd be interested in that one. Of course, pre-market high is about 214.
Seen some Tesla calls come in.
I have not taken a single trade.
It's all good. Slow day for Zunaid. Can you
Yeah.
believe it?
But you know what, Zunaid? You know what that also means is that you haven't haphazardly thrown money around and then made jokes about losing it. So I think being tactical is not necessarily a bad thing. Being tactical means you're being disciplined right now. You're looking for something specific. If you're not getting it, you're moving on. And if you do get it, I'm sure it'll change.
Yeah. Everything. Because we kind of had popped up, right? I mean, you had NVIDIA that I was interested in. That was already up $3. I wasn't going to chase it. It didn't come down to the 150s that I wanted it to. Tesla's already moving on up. Didn't the retest at 130 that I wanted. New year, new me, Shelly. You know the go.
I was going to say, yeah, Shelly wants that volatile Zunaid, the hoodie trading, gunslinging volatile Zunaid, as they say.
Oh,
Shelly, how are the donuts this morning?
Donuts. Oh,
I'm just wondering. So, wondering if there are any donuts out on the horizon. We actually, I think it was Friday, one of my teammates while I was in the office just brought in donuts for everybody. I thought it was so nice. It was so unexpected.
Drip looking good here as oil starts to make a down move there. I'm looking at potentially maybe going short on the XLE. That's the one that looked good there, but it already cracked that 88.60s. Wanted to get short off the VWAP fade, which was that rejection here. 3 tops, tried to get back, couldn't do it. Now it's starting to come back down towards support. If I can get 88.60s or 88.58s, I'll take it. But I feel like I'm chasing here in the 50s because it'll be 10 cents down, 10 cents up. That's in the middle. You become a pig really quickly. So just want to get it back there towards 58s or 60s so that I can get short on this. Look for the takedown towards the low of the day. And the low of the day on XLE is 88.15.
One thing to keep in mind, Mitch, we saw a lot of XLE calls this morning. Let me go back here. I saw a couple of these coming in. So these are just XLE contracts for today. And you can see there are some big lots in here. 2,000, 6,500, 2,000, 15, 100, 8,200. These are the 90 calls, right? So these are the ones, they're pretty short dated, no more than a month here. And they range between the $90 and the $95 strike for those bigger call buys. So they're a little bit cheaper, but someone here, look, there goes another 1,000 block calls that expired March 17th, my birthday. So it looks like that 90, 95 calls for XLE are getting bought here, Mitch.
Thanks for the heads up. We'll see what happens if we do get a bounce or not. Right now, still on the sidelines there. SPY overall, 391, trying to take the next leg, but not seeing the volume with this rip. So that gives me a little bit weary. So I'm just going to watch the rip right now. Honestly, I'm not taking part, and it's okay sometimes to not take part in a rally, especially if you feel like it's just not what you're expecting right now. And so in my case, in this, I just watch, and it's okay to watch. As long as I'm not giving up money, I think that's better than just trying to jump into trades and then get washed out, because then my mentality completely goes for the week. So I'll just watch trades right now as we slowly push to the upside, but it's not a big push, and that's why I'm not just jumping in immediately.
I'm going to try a short on NVIDIA at 158.41. If we can get up that high, we need to go above $1. And it's because if I look left, you can see that on the 20th of December, you have that act as support. So I want to see if that acts as resistance here today. But that's a beautiful green candle if you're in the long side on NVIDIA. Wanted to initially try shorting it around 158, excuse me, but I decided to go up to about 158.41s is where I'm going to look to sell 50 shares. If we can actually get that high.
On the verge, St. Ryan's Day, March 17th, my birthday too. It's a good birthday to have. You never have to make plans. People are always doing something, so you can always find something to do on that day. Crow, just an absolutely masterful call here. This APGN really turning into the trade of the day here. Halted again to the upside up to 238. Again, the levels that we have identified here really holding. They're really just spot on. So excellent job here on APGN. I would say at this point, if you still have some, at least make sure you trim and trail so you book some of those gains in here. If this were me and I were in it, I would have been all out on this pop. All out on this pop. Now, with it being January 9th, I think we can officially close the books on the Santa Claus rally, right? That's only supposed to be a few days. Only supposed to be a few days after the new year. I think that any Santa Claus rally that you want to talk about ended last week. I think we're back to early January trading here now.
That means it's time to burn the Christmas trees.
That just seems needlessly aggressive, Mitch.
It's not. This is where I think that people sometimes they just throw away their Christmas tree in the trash. Why not just bring the family out? Have a big bonfire. Burn that bad boy. It's pretty fun. Dangerous, though. Be careful. Christmas trees burn like crazy. So
because they're all dried out. They're ready to go. I actually didn't do a tree this year.
And it also teaches you how dangerous it is to forest fires and things like that, because you're like, man, if this is one tree, can't imagine if there was like hundreds of trees next to each other, right? Just to give you a perspective. But I've done that, actually. I've made it a tradition. Just get a little fireplace, cut off some branches, work it down, little firewood.
As long as you remember the important rule, only you can prevent forest fires.
Boom, boom.
Smokey the Bear, man. That was he's a real G.
Do it. Burn the tree. Why not? Seems like I'm not the only one. Someone's done it.
Yeah. So Crow's asking an interesting question here. I actually don't know the answer to this. I've just gotten so used to it. It doesn't really matter for trading. When the stock is halted, you get really kind of funky bid-ask spreads. And he's asking here, why is it so out of whack during halts? This would be a technical question. I'm almost wondering if it's resetting the order book or not reading or not displaying the order book. I don't actually know the answer to this, but the reality is that for trading purposes, you want to wait till that open and actually has a print anyway. So I wouldn't necessarily plan a trade based on what the out of whack level 2 is saying, but a good observation. I've noticed that too.
So my thinking, and I need to kind of verify this, but my thinking would be are we seeing the price level for off exchange orders? Is that what we're seeing? And so that's what gets left on the level 2. Crow, I'll do a little research today. I'll also ask Dennis Dick, that knows a lot about market structure, to try to figure that out for us. I think that's going to be more market structure talk. So I'll try to reach out to people that understand this a little bit deeper than I am and get you an answer, Crow. I'd have to do a little bit more deeper if it's just off exchange. SPY holding up here to the 391.50. It's kind of like just a slow move up, right? Do you guys feel like that, or is this kind of a ramp up? I would ask Zunaid maybe.
On what ticker?
Just like overall market, do you feel like this is a slow ride up, or is it just pushing strong here?
I would say it's above average of a rally. You know, I mean, you've got the markets that are up maybe just 1%, not even. But look at everything else in terms of my watch list, right? So your Apples, your Facebooks, your Teslas, they're up about 5%. Tesla's up 5. NVIDIA's up more than 5. AMD up more than 5. And then everything else is kind of relatively strong compared to the market. So the market's up about almost 1%, 1/10 of one. But you have Meta that's twice as strong. You have Microsoft that's twice as strong. You have Amazon that's 3 times as strong. So definitely a lot of opportunities that if you believe in the short trade for 2023 or in the next week or so, you've got some opportunities here. I'm personally still waiting on my 158.41 to short NVIDIA. I don't know if I'll get that opportunity, but that's what I'm waiting for. Haven't taken a single trade yet.
Tom S. Sorry if you need to get in here. Tom S is saying, can you talk about crypto stocks like Mara? It's ripping up. Yeah, we talked about that a little bit at the outset here. I had mentioned that Bitcoin is actually up from its last session here. It does look like these are kind of primed. I noticed that right around the open here, Bitcoin actually sold off about 150 points. So just a little bit here, but these stocks still staying up here. They're moving along with Bitcoin. You know, Jay Rice earlier was saying that it looks like a lot of the beaten down names are the names that are leading, and I would even throw Bitcoin in there. Bitcoin extremely beaten down. I think one of the things that you got to see with it is that despite the volatility, it really did kind of hold this 15 to 17K level fairly well. And I think that probably bodes well for trading it going forward. Seeing here today, to your point, Mara ripping really from 420 to 477, Riot really the same deal here. As far as trading these goes, these are just vehicles to capture this momentum. I don't necessarily think that the levels on these stocks correlate to any specific level on Bitcoin, but they definitely trade in tandem. So as long as Bitcoin looks strong, I would actually look at the Bitcoin chart, and if you think that's strong, maybe capture gains by trading Mara and Riot. I'd be interested to hear anyone else's plan for trading those stocks. We talk about that a lot on Happy Hour, but there doesn't seem to be high conviction in any of the stock names that are tied to Bitcoin. And given what's going on with Bitcoin recently, that's probably even less so.
That MLEC is getting back towards that hourly support. I'm trying to get in it at 13 here for a red to green move. This would be a swing trade style move here. MLEC, talked about it really early on. Have an order out right now, trying to get filled at 1303. But of course, the spread will need to fill me. There you guys just got a little piece there. Going to look to work it. Be careful that the spread is about 50 cents here. So you got to understand the risks there between the ask and the bid. Of course, this is a newly IPO. Big risk here, but I'm taking a shot here on a swing. All right, I'll kick it to you guys as I focus in and try to get a little bit more size in this one.
You've got go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You've got Tesla 130 calls coming in that are expiring this week. So if you look at Tesla, you kind of cracked above the 120 level and continues to the upside. If you're looking at short Tesla, the area that I personally like is about the 124, 125. So maybe you can go ahead and go short 1/4 of your size and then continue going short all the way up to 125. So the stop loss of like 125.60s or so. But for me, still waiting. Almost. Oh, look at that. We almost got filled on our short there. Missed it by, what is it? I was trying to short at 41. We got all the way to 32. So I missed my short on NVIDIA. Less than 10 cents.
And real quick, Zunaid, earlier this morning, you were just talking about the Tesla calls that were just coming in. I spotted those as well. We actually had some other calls coming in earlier. It looks like around the 120 and 125 handles earlier this morning. So similar, but remember that price was down right around 117 or so. So people buying that dip, it looks like, with the calls, and then rebuying them here on this push up towards highs. Pretty good sign there, honestly, on Tesla. Nice job. Are you're still waiting that one out, right?
You're still waiting. Yep. Gotcha. Still waiting.
And a real quick here, Jay Rice, regarding the beaten down names being the ones that are moving. brings up a really good point here with coin. This is actually kudos to you, Jay, because this I should have brought this up when we were talking about Mara and Riot the first time. Coin was downgraded this morning. And look at the action here. We're up 13.5%, $2 move after the open. So forgetting about all the pre-market stuff, we really just ran from 35, 30, almost 38 here. So that just going to show you definitely the beaten down names are the ones more liable to bounce and giving you some more opportunity here. Great stuff, Jay. I actually missed this the first time. Charge point still looking good, huh, Becca? That was a great spot earlier too.
All right, team, got a second ad. You guys know I like to do it in like thirds or fifth there for the swing. Right now, it's 2/3 of the trade. And I have an average at 1288 on MLEC. Looking good. We'll see if it actually makes the move up. We'd want to see it break out through 1550. That's what I would want to see. Not already be up like probably 2.5 points if that happens. So we'll see what happens today. Just taking a little bit of a smaller trade. Swing trade. We'll see if it works out.
All right, looks like I did go and get short NVIDIA at 158.49s. Stop loss for me is a crack of 159.11. Looking to take profits around 156.91.
All right. Coin moving up today, just to kind of mention a stock that is making moves. We'll see what happens there. SPY overall now to 392. It's pushing, team. It's able to hold the rally right now. We'll see if that turns around later in the day, but definitely holding right now.
You've got still waiting on this NVIDIA to kind of work out. Either it's going to take my money if it gets up to 159.11s, or it's going to go ahead and donate something my way at 156.91. We'll see which way that plays out. But you've been going back to this one, looking left and drawing. You had that resistance that came and turned into support around the 389.24s, and beautiful move to the upside. SPY now looking to break above the 392s.
Apple highs, Amazon highs, SPY taking other stocks with it.
Yep. NVIDIA making new highs.
And to even the points of the airlines. Who's mentioning the airlines in here? Check out E2 Computers. Saying check out the airlines. Love, JetBlue, etc. Those are all up. Airline trade really difficult, but up here with the market today. Yeah,
Delta, free Wi-Fi.
Oh, really?
So I got a story. I got a Delta story for you. Ready? Did I tell you the delay from my flight Tuesday?
Nope.
Oh, I heard it, but you can repeat it. No worries.
So I showed up at the airport. My flight was early, like 6:30 in the morning Central Time. I'm trying to get to Detroit really before 9 a.m. Eastern. And I get to the airport, and then I'm walking to the gate, and they send me a text that says your flight is going to be delayed 235 minutes.
Yeah.
And ended up being delayed 10 minutes. So, and then once we got there, we actually landed early. So Delta really, those messages, no good, but Delta really ended up living up to it. It wasn't really delayed at all. I actually landed early.
Delta out here speeding in the air.
Hey, there are no cops up there, Zunaid. Give it some gas. Let's go.
Who's going to stop them? Oh, man. Netflix on that 330 level. What? Netflix is at like 317. Don't get me excited.
So the move up, you guys are asking about, kind of a slow day. The move up here seems orderly, and there doesn't really seem to be any big news catalyst yet. At least not that I see here. Not anything huge yet. Yeah, Judge said Delta's the best way to fly. They've always been good to me, and they haven't lost anything for me yet. Knock on wood.
Yeah. Hey, we got the hub of Delta down here. Love flying them. I'll actually be flying them on Friday.
Man, no airline is good.
Sky marshals are inside the planes, not outside. Yeah, that Sky Marshal probably really wants to get where he's going too. He ain't going to stop him. Zunaid, that's interesting because the Detroit airport is also a Delta hub. I know Atlanta, I think, is the main hub.
Yeah,
but Detroit is also one of the bigger ones. I bet that it's easy to go from Atlanta to Detroit.
I'd have to look it up. I'd have to look it up. Let's see, where's off? Still in that NVIDIA trade. You can see I almost got stopped out, but thankfully not just yet.
Just watching the SPY just get slow. And it's showing a little topping, so I'm starting to look to see what's happening if we're going to start turning back around. Tesla hit near resistance 123.12s. Why did I have that 123.12? Well, I looked to the left, and you can see we kind of closed above there on the Friday number, that 123.18 kind of level, 123.12 level around there should act as some resistance. We'll see if we get through that 123 level.
NVIDIA through its 50-day moving average here today, the 200-day at 167, currently at 158.5 here. So NVIDIA looks like that might go to its 200-day. That keeps up.
I don't know if it'll make it that far today, but it's definitely had a hell of a day.
Not today. Sorry.
No worries. It's all good. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just an outlook. It's already done close to its full ATR move, 7.3. So just put it in perspective, low today of 148, high of 158. We've moved 10 points on the name already.
And the rejection from 159 may have been a better entry, but nonetheless, we are green barely by $1. But obviously, we're looking to take profits at 156.91s or just go to lose on the trade at 159.11s.
We'll see what else is going on. Someone's bringing up the WWE. Is it getting the smackdown yet? Or is it still getting the smack up? At least it seems like it. WWE still pushing. Still pushing. 87.50. Overall, just taking it easy today. And I think that's one of the things that we're going to be doing a lot in the early part of the year. I'm going to be putting a lot more into work towards the later part of the year. I think the early part of the year is going to be a lot of trappy type of action. I don't expect to see one direction just clear out, but we'll see what happens there.
Oh, FDR.
SPY trying to make it back towards 392. We'll see if it's able to do that. MLEC now starting to get the pop there for me, so not looking too bad in that IPO. I will just say it again, guys. This is a little bit a higher risk trade than many would take, and the big thing for me is I'm going off the 1 hourly chart, right? 1 hourly support, was looking at that in pre-market, was able to get the entry. Now we're on the offer at 15.29. To put that in perspective, average entry right now is 12.88. So we'll look to see if we can get through the 15.50. If I do get that break, I think we could really break out in this one. So I'm giving it a chance here versus just running towards the profits. We'll look to see if we really break out. Remember, I had this more in a swing trade mentality, so I could let it run, make a big run, and then take the profits. We'll see what happens there in MLEC. Spread is massive, so be careful if you're by any means near this trade.
Someone talking about HKD. Yeah, if you're trying to take this one long, I think the break of 26.29 would be your best bet. As you can see, you have support turned into resistance. Can't quite get up there to even test it yet. So 26.29. As you can see, I've got an alert set ready to go as well on HKD. Coming back to NEO, $11 rejection was perfect. I didn't play it, but that whole number's been great. You can see how that's had a little bit of turbulence up there. So if it gets over 11 and retest, you can try to go long. But for me, the main focus is still NVIDIA, as we're up $13 on 50 shares, but that's not enough. We're looking for $75 when it comes down to 156.91.
Let's go. Let's go. SPY now showing more topping action on the 3-minute chart for me. It's rejected 392 3 times. We could start cutting right back down to the VWAP. We'll see what happens. Apple continued and went up there to 132.50s even today. That one had a nice little VWAP bounce trade if you guys were able to capture that one to the upside.
Michael saying here, hey, Mitch, I think UNG and Boyle are finally breaking up. Mitch, I don't know if you have a history with Nat Gas here. Nat Gas has actually been something that the Happy Hour crew has been taking a look at recently and discussing possible trades. The Nat Gas issue here, Michael, was we were saying that Nat Gas is likely going to bounce off 350. It did exactly that. We're actually, Nat Gas is a 4 here today. You're seeing that reflected in UNG, which is, of course, a 1X product. You also mentioned Boyle there, which is a 3X product, giving you more leverage for this type of trade. So just a huge move here in Nat Gas. Remember, it was the 350 low that it seemed to have bounced off of. Really, the question is going to be, does this continue, right? Boyle is one of those tickers that, huge swings. I mean, this thing was 100 and then 40 and then 100 again. So now we're down here at 13. A lot of people trading Boyle for the bounce. Just be careful. This thing's known as the Widowmaker. Be careful if you're going to trade this.
Got you, Michael. I'll give my comments on that right now. Just give me 1 second. Just want to tell you guys, I did just get stopped out in my Duke trade there, team. So first swing trade on the year is going to be a loss there. It's not a big loss, but just going to let you guys know about it, right? You guys know I've been swinging Duke to the downside, talked about how that 105.50 would be my risk. Right now, we just broke through that. I'm out of the trade. Don't need to stress about it. It is what it is. Move forward and just keep trying to knock them down. We'll see what happens. For Boyle and UNG, the only thing I would say is that I would maybe day trade this action. For me, the swing trades have not worked well in Boyle and UNG. Even when we've had nice patterns, it hasn't made that next step up for me. So in that case, I'm trying to stay away a little bit from natural gas right now. Does it present an opportunity to reverse? Hell yeah, it does, because it is oversold. But at that point, I just don't like catching falling knives, especially like a stock like UNG and Boyle that keep coming lower. And I know that a lot of people were expecting Boyle to hold up near this support around the 40s, and it's down to 1361. Well, you got to be careful on trades like that. I feel like Boyle overall is just too much risk for me to get that reward.
I had a question about Zunaid, do you at any point change the game plan? Example would be kind of move your stop to the entry point when you are 40% filled for this, that, the other. Yes. So right now I'm only short 50 shares, right? If I was short, say 100, what I would do is now this has become a one-to-one trade that has reached its profit target. So if I'm risking 35 bucks right here, when it was in profit 35 bucks, I would have sold 50 shares, moved my stop loss to break even, and have my 2-to-1 trade still intact for the remaining 50 shares. If I really wanted to be crazy and wanted to go 3-to-1, then I would leave 25 shares here, and then let's just say 25 shares at about 156, so that when this profit target gets met, the second profit target, I would move my break even to first profit target. So basically just kind of stair-stepping my way through and through is how I would go ahead and handle it. But since I only have 50 shares, I'm either going to make 75 or I'm going to lose 35. I've got all day. I'm not doing anything. So we'll just see how it plays out. Hopefully that answers your question. If not, please feel free to ask another one.
Bomi Hunter saying oversold in warm winter equals run. Warm winter, natty gas going to burn you. Yeah, there was so much talk about this, being a really, really bad winter. One thing I will say, at least in my experience being in Chicago, it does feel like we kind of skipped winter. We're already kind of gearing up for spring. I wouldn't be shocked though if the weather swung yet again and produced some really cold temperatures. So we'll see if this is actually going to be a warm winter. So far, so good though.
Yep, so far so good. And I think at the end of the day, I think it's just going to be a matter of maybe next year, but I don't think it's going to be a matter of this year for that big natural gas run. But like always, you guys make your own investment decision. And Will says, no worries, Mitch. I got Boyles for us. Well, hey, shout out to you, Will. If you were able to nail it, hey, I won't be mad about it.
I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries. I'll get you to the background, my friend. There you go. Put you in the background. Put your charts in the background. I'll put mine up here. Let's go to my scanner here and let's take a look at what's moving in the last 30 minutes. So these are just stocks that are moving the most in the last 30 minutes. And this is an easy way of trying to find momentum plays, right? So there's a couple of names here. We'll try to look for names that are above $1. And then what I'll do here is I'm just going to actually custom the price here. So let's go ahead. Let's just do $1. There, 0, 0, boom, boom. Let's go back towards the action, see what we got. It's still haven't. Oh, no, that's a change. All right, perfect. Just wanted to make sure we are at least looking at stocks over above $1. GMVD having a 40% move there, so definitely check that one out. It's up to 411s on the day, started around 3. Just looking around to see what's making moves here. HAP making the move up, but not the biggest volume on those names. We'll see what happens now. Looking around to see what has some actual decent volume making moves. SONN is one that had made a move, now pulling back. We'll see if it does get the bounce. Still, these biotechs are the ones showing up. All right, let's get back towards the action. Let's go to SPY here. All right, SPY up there to 391.75. Now starting to show a little bit of that topping, but let's see if we get back to 392, right? That's going to be that next step up.
SPY action here actually not bad. Yeah, we're up off the highs, but we're still kind of holding this run. I would say as long as we don't really come back in, this actually sets up for another leg higher here. I'd like to see it maybe consolidate a little bit more before pushing higher, but we'll see. We'll see what we end up getting here. Not a concerned move here in SPY yet. Not concerned about the move. Excuse me.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. It needs to get back through that 392, and we'll see if Apple or Tesla turns around. That's what I would keep watch, right? If Tesla or Apple turns around, that's what might turn this market back down. But if those can stay strong, well, then we can keep running.
And just to give you, just to kind of give you an idea of what I'm looking at here, here's the chart that I got on SPY. This trend line really representing the downtrend that we're currently in. So even if we do push up a little bit here over the next several days, I could see 398 finding some resistance against really 400 later this week. Obviously, we have to see what happens with the Fed here tomorrow. Powell is set to speak. Is that tomorrow? Let me get that. Fed Chair Powell speaks. Yes, that is tomorrow, the 10th of January. APGN popping again, says Crow. Let's take a look here.
Yeah, popped and drop. Be careful there.
It was that move through 2 that was really, or the move through what was it, 170 here, this consolidation area, 180. Now we have really kind of a double top set at 4. Boy, this last knife looks really bad. What a trap.
It's a trap.
Yeah, that's the smaller stocks for you.
Yep. But I mean, it's not every move too. And like we said, we got one earlier on the stock already. So just got to be careful. Got to be able to protect yourself against those.
Yeah, that's the hard part about trading names like that. That's just what it is, right? You're going to get the volatile up move. You're going to get the volatile down move. So you got to determine if it's for you, right? It's not for everybody. That's for sure. Looking around, you're going to look to the SPY to see what's moving up in the SPY today. Looks like for some reason, Match is leading us in the SPY and the S&P 500 stocks from the open. C-Day is moving up. UAL, of course, United. We've talked about their airlines. NVIDIA has been strong on the day. AMD has been strong. EQT, gas play, right? Oil and gas play. American Airlines showing up there. So definitely kind of from the top 10, I see 3 airlines. So just keep that in mind as you're starting to see those stocks get a nice little lift there. SEG, ALB looks like a little bit of a chemical play there, getting a little bit of a bounce. Interesting to see Marriott on here as they actually got a downgrade this morning, but getting the lift. Downgrade came from, just give me 1 second to pull it up. I just want to make sure we get it right here. That came from Jefferies as they downgraded Hilton and Marriott. So keep that in mind. Jeffries with the downgrade in the industry, but seeing the lift today.
Checking on.
William is asking, can you please explain the trap? William, really quickly, the trap that we're talking about, first of all, we have the most magnificent Admiral Akbar drop.
It's a trap.
Just to let you know what's going on. But the trap that we're talking about here is that you can see on APGM before this candle really knifed down. Let me try to zoom in and make this a little bit easier for you. Before we really got this knife, this chart formation really kind of looks like it wants higher, right? We set this new high at about 238. We retraced some of that move, and then we kind of traded sideways along 211, and then we started to curl like we were going to break 211, got some more volume here, pushed up to that high, and then immediately was met with selling volume. So to me, this is the trap, right? It looks like it wants to break out higher, maybe even break its intraday high, only to have sellers meet the buyers and then overwhelm them, sending the price back lower. That's the trap mentality that we're talking about here. It looks like it wants to break higher, but there are just simply too many sellers, and it ends up taking the stock lower.
Looks very trappy to me on the SPY. I might actually get short the overall market here. Just taking a look at it off the 392 mark would be that cut.
What trigger would you need to tell you that SPY might be reversing here? Like
so it's just the rule of three. I just base it on the rule of three, just to make it simple. 3 resistance try, 4 fail.
Right. And so it looks like the resistance attempts here that have failed are against 392, right? We've tried to go over it, but we really haven't been able to.
And what do you see there, right? You see how many attempts to get through that 392?
1, 2, 3, 4 attempts.
That's what I usually look for. And on that 4th attempt, if we can't go, I look for the move back to support. It doesn't necessarily mean the move back down all the way to like intraday low, right? Just means move back down to support. We're going on that move right now. And so we'll look to see if we recover that support and hold that support. But does that show me turnaround? Yeah, that shows me turnaround. So I'll show you guys what that means right there for me on the SPY. You can see it here on the 1 minute. There's all these highs in the same area, right? 1, 2, 3 on that 4th try. We should get the breakout. If we don't, a lot of times I'm going to expect to move right back down to support and then look to see if support breaks here. And if support breaks, that's when you start going back to VWAP a lot of the times. So we'll look to see if that breaks down and then comes right back towards the orange line. And that'll be a good outlook there for your style trade, Zunaid, if you're just shorting into the pops like you've been doing. And one thing that I'll say is that at least you were patient today on your number. And that's all you can be, right? It's have a plan, attack, execute, and never get mad about the way that the trade goes, because that would mean thinking that trading is right and wrong. The truth is, no one knows if you're going to be right or wrong in any style trade. The only thing you can do is take probability, right? Understand probability, understand where you're going at it. And then from there, let the numbers and the market work the rest out. And then from at that point, it's just either a loss or a win, and add it to the data, right? Because if you're focusing on a process, one trade shouldn't be it.
Yeah, for sure. And then you've got the NVIDIA trade. So we were short at 158, stop loss 159. We were about, what is that? About 30 cents away from taking profits on this one. Still in the money by only about $30 though. So I'm not rushing to take any profits. Again, like I said from the beginning, either I'll lose $35 or I'll make 75. We will see which way I'm fortunate on this trade. But if the market wants to not get over this 392 and wants to kind of come back and say retest maybe the 390s or even the 389.24s, I'd be a happy camper. But for now, you're kind of consolidating right in that area for the past 15, 20 minutes. And we'll see if they're able to kind of push it up or push it down. But for now, it's the only trade I'm in. Is a short on NVIDIA at 158.41 with a stop loss of 159.11. Taking profits at 156.91.
Gene is saying red candle with decent top wicks indicate trapped buyers. and the inverse, green candles with decent bottom wicks indicate trapped sellers. I would say that goes towards it. It's not necessarily the only thing that's going to tell you if someone's trapped, but if you do get that wicking action, that basically means that someone thinks it's going higher, or someone thinks it's going that direction, but it just doesn't have the strength to do that, whether it be up or down. So that could be people that are trapped.
I just keep it simple. Wicks are tricks. Tricks for the buyers, tricks for the sellers, whichever way. What's the link for Market Edge system? Yeah, Market Structure Edge. Make it easy. And literally just like that, marketstructureedge.com.
Not seeing much gonna spark the barbecue. Crow, where are you at? It's 9:30.
Let's go, Crow.
I
need
love it.
you
I love
over
the
here,
energy.
man.
Don't get me
Let's
wrong.
go. Start the
at 9:30 in the
barbecue.
morning.
I'll do stock market movers from the barbecue. I don't mind. Flip that chicken. Talk about how that seems like Tesla just roasting. Let's go. Apple trying to make that next step up there. What will the SPY do, though? Sideways action right off that support. Will we get our next leg up? Just seems to me like a little bit of a slowdown, kind of normal around this 10:30 time. You've seen some day traders probably take off here. Now we look to see if we keep going. It's definitely been a good day for those tech stocks like an AMD and AMD and NVIDIA. So we'll see if those kind of turn back around. They've been really strong on the day. Apple continuing also 133.70s now. Tesla didn't even get the VWAP bounce, held around the 120.50s. Now coming back towards 122. We'll see what else is making moves. All right.
Fate Therapeutics, another biotech company here, moving. Let's see if there's any news on Fate.
It's got a lot of volume.
Yep, sure does.
This was already hit hard because of downgrade. Oh, man. It's still bleeding from down there. But this is the Kathy favorite.
Okay. Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Might be getting out of the trade too. So that could be causing the lift there. So just be careful. That's the only thing I would give.
Yeah, no position here. I mean, realistically, though, break above 610, this thing's gappy all the way up to 10. So definitely some potential in there. But man, Kathy really taking a wash.
Well, at least point to the bright side of her outlook is that she's also long CRISPR. That's having a decent day in a similar area.
Yeah, those gene editors.
That's her big bet in gene editing. It's kept her in for a long time, those health names, and now it's actually hurting her. All right, looking around to see what's making moves. If I take a look at the leading sectors, it's technology, consumer cyclical, and utilities as they continue to get on the run there. Industrials behind that, not having a bad day there. Just keep your eyes on some of the bigger names. Let me see how these defensive names and industrials are doing today. Looks like UPS up about 1.19% from the open. That one doesn't look too bad. Honeywell also into the green. The defensive names not as strong, though, like RTX and LMT, Lockheed Martin, and kind of Honeywell and RTX starting to get that pullback. Honeywell's actually on the uplift, so it's just RTX. Some of those defensive names taking a little bit of a pullback. NOC is another one you can look at. So those defensive names definitely getting a little bit of a hit. GE, a little bit of a bounce back after doing the split last week on the 4th. Look how this has performed, team. Everyone was thinking GE would come back down off of that. If anything, it's continued the run. And with that, I would say Honeywell can maybe make its way right back towards 220 as that's starting to recover from that GE little cut down. We already got it, Crow. Just SARK it, man. Just SARK it. SARK is the inverse Kathy ETF, right? Actually doing bad today. Look at that. Sark is getting hit hard. What's doing well in ARK? Oh, it's probably going to be Tesla, right? Oh, that EKAS. Ooh, it's been ripping. That one's probably one of the best ones of the day. And where did you guys maybe hear EKAS? Of course, on Stock Market Movers last week. So don't miss it, team. On Friday, we had Jay Woods talking about EKAS. Look at that move today. Big move, 21%. Only if you were watching Stock Market Movers, of course. Can't miss that show, team. 1 p.m., 2 p.m. Eastern every day. We get some great analysts, some great experts to give their transparent opinions. And that's what it's all about, team. You guys want to stay in the informational edge, catch Stock Market Movers. Coin with the lift. Unity with the lift. It seems like it's a growth type of rally type of day. Risk off right now, at least it seems like. We'll see if the SPY can continue now through the 392 level, back to 392.26. Went to support, held that support, now right back up.
Coin trying to take that next leg higher here along with the market. I mean, looking at Bitcoin, we're still in the same range that we were in earlier today. However, the S&P now trying to take the next leg higher, so too is Coin. So that seems to be trading with that.
All right, online NVIDIA did go ahead and get stopped out, so I'll just go ahead and quickly review that here. We had entry right over here with our stop loss at the 159.11 break, and then, of course, our take profit here. Unfortunately, we were about 20 cents, 30 cents away from taking profits on a 2-to-1 trade. We did go ahead and get stopped out, so that's going to be an L for me. If I do want to go short the market, I think one of the things I'd be looking at might be, say, like a Netflix, or maybe even a Pfizer, but maybe Netflix if it does want to come down, as that one is relatively weak, only up about less than 0.5%, where the market itself is up by more than 1%. Put your SPY up.
Yeah, so trying to build this MLEC position. It got up there to 15, trying to add to it on this pullback, back down towards the 12s. Risk is going to be off of the 1170s for MLEC. I'll let you guys know if I do get another add there, but it is pulling back right now. I'll look to see it catch another run. Look to see if I get my fill too. I'm trying to get some more at 1220s. APGN back to 177. This one doesn't look too bad. ALBO. Don't know too much about this one.
Yeah, me either. I'm not.
But
that name.
The sideways action for me is not bad, right? Sideways action, not just dropping after this big run in pre-market. That's actually good to see, right? When you're seeing a stock that's run big, the number one thing you don't want to see right out the gates is just a quick flush. Well, right back down to that trend. It's holding in right now.
Ipsen announced it will acquire the company for 42 a share plus a contingent value right of 10 per share.
So there's the ARB trade there. This just is an ARB trade now. ARBs took control on that one. RVNC has also been a strong one there. Just looking around to see what we can find. CVAC, that one doesn't look too bad. I don't know this one too much. You know this one, Ryan? CVAC?
CVAC, not offhand. Do you want me to pull up the news here for that one?
Yeah, see if there's some news or something, because it is holding a nice little 15-minute chart. Look at this little pullback.
So CureVac shares are trading higher after Jefferies upgraded it from hold to buy. Now remember, Jefferies is going to be one of those firms that's really well respected, so that's going to carry a lot of weight.
Nice. So did it give a price target?
Let me see if I've got one here.
Just wondering. You know what I mean?
Yep. Let me see. Let me try to pull it up.
How much of an upside do they see?
Jefferies. No, I don't have a price target here. That might be in the note and not released yet. We just got the fact that they released the note. I'll keep looking though.
No worries.
I'll keep looking.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, from hold to buy, but I don't see a price target. Oh no, 9 to 21. Here it is. Yep. Sorry about that. I'll get that added to the calendar here. Upgrades the stock from a hold to buy, raise the price target from 9 to 21. So there you go, Mitch.
Whoa, that's a big change. It's definitely going to give it a little bit of a lift.
Sure.
What I like is that you have the VWAP to go off of, and you came back to some pricing, and the upside outlook is nice, like 50 cents from here. Risk is probably around 20 cents. That's not too bad, right? And so it's not a bad looking trade right now on that CVAC.
Not at all. Jay saying Tesla TSLQ pumpers quiet. I think you're referring to Tesla Q, the joke.
Yes, LQ, the bear daily.
Yeah. In any case, yeah. I mean, Tesla really, really strong today. Double top here at 122. We saw all of those calls here this morning. Zunaid called them out. We saw them right before that. So I mean, the calls were all over here on Tesla.
Yeah, long term, I'm still bearish on Tesla just because one thing that I saw in the market structure edge data this morning, it showed short interest still rising in Tesla. So to me, short volume increasing in the long run just shows to me that this could just be a dead cat bounce, and then eventually we break down back below. I'm going to look for Tesla in this year below into the double digits. If I can get Tesla into double digits, I'll start taking some more swing trade to the upside. But for right now, I think that some people are just kind of more of day trading control this, and it is getting a nice little run. We'll see if it can continue. For me, I'm going to be still waiting for that crack of the double digits.
And real quick, Mitch, just to kind of finish off the discussion on short interest. Of course, we do have short interest here in Pro. This is non-estimated short interest, so this is going to be the stuff that is reported. Your numbers may differ depending on the source that you're accustomed to looking at. But as of December 28th, only 2.82% of the float shorted and a days to cover of 0.8. So really not a whole lot of short interest, at least not from this last report. Just something to keep in mind if you're making a trade there. Not likely to squeeze because of that, more likely to have pronounced moves just because that's how Tesla's been trading.
Yeah, one thing I would say about that is that I think all retail should get behind trying to get better short interest data. Essentially, what they give us is kind of pointless, I would say.
Yeah, so that's kind of, and that's why I gave you that caveat at the beginning, because if something happens since the last report, there's no way to factor that in. The reality here is that your two data points, not just the percent of float short, but the days to cover, very, very important when determining if something can have a squeezy behavior, if you will.
Someone said they see maybe like 137, I feel like it put. I think that's what William was trying to say, but we'll see what happens there. SEDG is ripping wellness matters, but my only problem with that is that I feel like that's a trend that's broken. That's just getting a little bit of a bounce back. You can see it in ENPH also and First Solar. I just don't trust the solar stocks this year. I feel like those are going to give up that big run, but to each his own, right? SEDG getting a nice little lift. Also, a lot of the other solar names.
What's up, Easy Mike? How you doing? Berlin, how's it going, my man? Wissing, how's it going? Bo Hunter saying only 134 likes, encouraging everyone to do better.
Come on, team. Let's get to 300.
Bo me, I really appreciate that, man. I agree with you. I'd love to get that number up there a little bit more.
What's the best source for short interest info? I would say nothing.
I would say Benzinga Pro. And here the reason that I went into that is because like I only want to deal with things that are for sure, right? Like how many times, yes, it's true. We've seen some stocks have high short interest, they end up squeezing, stocks go bonkers. But how many times have we been told, or you've been told by someone else, oh, this stock is highly shorted, it's going to squeeze, only to have that not happen? I want to deal with things I can rely on, and that is the short interest that you're getting in Benzinga Pro. And again, it's not just percent of float shorted, it's also days to cover. Very, very important.
Yeah, I mean, having the data, the actual data is going to definitely help you. So if you want the actual data, that's where you're going to get it. My biggest thing is the 2 times a month reporting is nowhere near what's needed.
So I get it. I'm with you on that. And Mitch, I'd even like to say it would
Overall.
be better if we could get a weekly report, right? Wouldn't
Yeah,
that
weekly report,
so,
which should
so
be
I'm,
what's
I'm
needed.
both things can be true. Both things can be true. Bo Hunter's saying here, Ryan seems like a guy that only uses products he believes in. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like I've
100%.
never successfully found a monster squeeze trade based off some other short interest site. On the flip side, I've used short interest information quite a bit. So yeah, I would completely agree with that. I pretty much I try to only tout things that have helped me, and in this case, having an accurate representation of short interest has helped me. It hasn't led to me founding a trade that goes from 10 to 300 like GameStop, though. Just keep that.
And that happens. That
Yep,
happens,
exactly.
like always, right? Find what edges work best for you. Daily report, yeah. Daily report would be really nice, but I don't think that'll ever happen.
That would be tough.
Yeah, I know, Will. I don't even want to mention it. You can mention it, Will, but some just, I guess, can't hit that like button. It hurts them.
I'm gonna go short here on Neo. A bit of a not the best setup, but let me just modify my take profits and everything. Went short on Neo with 500 shares at 10.98. Stop loss for me is going to be 11.14. Looking to take profits at about 10.82. It's been kind of rejecting from this one. It looks like it might go ahead and pop over. If this 15-minute candle does close above 11, I will go ahead and take a loss on this one. I'm not going to wait till it all the way closes out. But I'm hoping that the market will go ahead and come back down to at least retest this 382 area, giving a chance for Neo to come to the downside. We've got about less than a minute to see what happens with this trade, but at the moment, it looks like I'll close out for about a $30-40 loss.
All right, just still battling in the markets overall. Healthcare is slightly going into the red now, so keep that in mind as you keep watching some healthcare names. Those could turn around. Energy slightly starting to turn around also. So you guys heard me mention earlier today, I was thinking about a short on XLE. That one really wouldn't have been bad. It definitely broke from that 88.60s down there towards 88 and below that 88, going there towards the low of 87.76. Could have got a point on that return. Would have been a nice 20 cent for a point return. What is that? That's a 5-to-1 outlook. I'll take that any day of the week. Not a bad trade there on XLE. If you guys were able to nail some short in the oil names, as we start seeing this, will we start seeing the big crack? Look at XOM, that crack there. Oxy starting to come back down. Chevron was weak earlier, so I'd expect that to look weak. We'll see if these can keep coming down. Now, there are some stocks in these that were strong that are starting to turn around also, like a VLO, an SLB, Schlumberger, a Halliburton. We'll see if these start getting hit as the oil names start coming down, the big boys.
Right. Looks like that 15-minute candle did close above 11. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have my stop loss right at about 11.03. So risking about $25 or $27 rather to see if we can make about 80. These are the type of trades where realistically I will go ahead and cut loose and take a loss more often than not. But if I can go ahead and nail it, the risk to reward is well worth it, as it's more than a 2-to-1 trade for me. But yeah, I mean, today's, I'm going to head out here in a minute, but to me, today's price action and everything else, it was obviously bullish. There's no question about that. But it just didn't give me, in my opinion, the best entry to go long. So here's an example. If I go ahead and look at the 15-minute, you saw the break above the 392, but there was no retest. On the retest, I would have been interested in the spot, but we just continued going. On the NVIDIA trade, this one was a great one for me. However, it wasn't great execution because I went ahead and took smaller size. Therefore, I waited for the 2-to-1 to be executed in my favor. Unfortunately, it wasn't. So I went ahead and took an L on this one as well. If I took my proper sizing, I would have been able to break even on it because I would have taken profit target number 1, which was reached. But unfortunately, we got a little bit too greedy. So and then we'll see what ends up happening with Neo. Again, If I do get taken out, it'll be if it goes ahead and crosses 1103, which is when I'll lose $27. But if it comes down to 1082, we'll go ahead and bank in about $80 because I'm short 500 shares at 1098. That's it for me. I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Take care of yourselves. Zunaid. Good stuff here today.
See ya.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, bud.
Born, take care of yourself, my man. Watch coin. We did talk about coin quite a bit. Watch Lulu too. Lulu looks like it might be trying to break through 300 potential opportunity there on Lulu. So watch for that break of 300. That actually might get going. Coin now taking its next leg up. You were saying here, watch coin come back into VWAP. So it looks like you're going to try to trade this to the short side as we get a regression back towards the VWAP. Can't really argue with that either.
All right, we'll see what else is going on there. Just taking a look to see if we can actually it looks like we're just continue to ride the wall of worry. Looks like we're just keep pushing right now. It looks like it, team. It's 393 now. Would I expect to see 393? Hell no. That's why I'm not running in front of this and not just getting short a bunch, right? Because that would mean to me more revenge trading here. But I'm just on the sideline. I don't see this rally. So at the end of the day, I'm just going to be on the sideline. And it's okay to be missing money as long as this is not your everything, right? If this was what I lived off of, I'd probably take part of this rally, day trade it, right, to the upside. But in my case, where I don't need to make, every cent on the market. So with that being said, I'd rather be on the sidelines sometimes. And right now is definitely one of those cases. You can see we're up there to 393.06. Apple having a hell of a day back towards 133. Microsoft even in the green there, getting a nice little push up. Amazon up probably. Is it up? Let's see. Yep, up on the day. Tesla up on the day. And as our leadership goes, a lot of the time, so will the markets, right? And so our leadership has been coming down as of late. Now what do you see? Green, 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 green. So when the big boys are in the green, what's usually going to happen to the market? Going to get dragged up. Not looking too bad there. 393 now as the SPY keeps pushing.
All right, Mitch. It does seem to have slowed down. We'll see where this rally ends up taking us. We should have some more volatile days this week, though, with some of the economic stuff coming up. So we will see tomorrow. I'm going to get rolling. Thanks for everything here this morning. We'll be back at this again tomorrow, my man. Take care, everybody.
All right, sounds good there. Just go ahead and get Ryan out of here, and I will start wrapping up. And like always, team, we're going to keep growing here on Benzinga. Don't miss live trading, this stream right here. You don't want to miss it, team. And I'll give you guys a little bit more. If you guys want to join and keep learning, well, check out the Benzinga book club as I join a community of learners, traders, and you guys, the market enthusiasts out there. We're going to be going through financial books, stock market books, psychology books, retirement books, everything on the stock market. So if you guys want to continue on the #1 place to grow your financial skills and understanding in the markets, join the book club. Join with me as I have others join also. You guys are going to be part of the discussion. You guys get the behind the scenes look too. As being part of the book club, you guys will be a part of the recording. We'll have a deeper discussion, longer talk on the topics. And of course, we'll put out an edited form version so that you guys can catch it also on that edited version. But if you guys want to be in the behind the scenes, into the good stuff, the nitty gritty, get deeper into the discussion, take part of the discussion, well, join the book club now. I'll throw it up there, the link, so that you guys can join in. And of course, it's absolutely free. Where else are you going to get that type of education, that type of support in your financial journey than right here on Benzinga? So don't miss it, team. Just threw up the link there. Want you guys to go ahead and give it a follow. We'll check out there. And of course, if you guys have books, at the last question on that form, you guys will find authors, book titles, whatever it may be. Tell me what you guys want to learn, and I'll make sure that we go after it this year. All right, that's probably going to do it for us, team. As we see the SPY continuing to run, I'll take a little last quick of the sector rotation. Seems like technology still leading here. And what's doing well? Semiconductor equipment, software applications, and semis getting a nice little push up. NVIDIA taking the lead there on the day, up 4.35, now up about 7.37% on the day. Not a bad move in technology if you were able to catch that run. Consumer cyclical behind that, auto manufacturers, of course, Tesla helping lead that rally. Resorts and casinos, we talked about Wynn, Las Vegas Sands. Would they continue the run? You guys can see here, Wynn now starting to make that next step up. This one looks good. LVS for that next step. We'll look for that to keep going. And MLCO is one that I will tell you lags behind those. And we'll see if it's kind of more of a leader laggard trade right now with LVS and Wynn looking like they want to take the next step. Will MLCO follow along? Then you got industrials behind that as that takes a nice step up today. UPS having a good day there. Nice little lift there. Look for FDX. FedEx, right? Will we finally get to the 200? Talked about this filling in the gap at some point. I wanted to play this gap fill. Never really got it. Would have loved to have gotten it somewhere near the 165s, 170 level. And looking for the fill all the way up to 200. We'll see if we get it back up there. It's at 191. FedEx making a big move up. All right, like always, you guys can keep up with sector rotation and what stocks are moving with our other shows. After this, we will have a break. Benzinga Live moving towards kind of a smaller schedule. They're going to be on Tuesday and Thursday this week, so no Benzinga Live next. The next show that you guys will catch is Stock Market Movers, 1 p.m. Eastern. Be there, team, as we go ahead and have two great guests join us on Stock Market Movers. We have Louis Navalier, founder and investment strategies of course, Navalier and Associates. Don't miss that. And we also got another guest, a Quant Insight guest. So don't miss it. The CEO of Quant Insight joining us today at 1:45. And that show starts at 1 p.m. I'll see you there, team. Hit the thumbs up. Let's keep growing on the number one place to grow your financial understanding. And of course, grow those trading skills and investments just like we're doing here on live trading. Hope that you guys enjoyed today's action. We'll see some of these bigger names if they keep showing up. Biotech's making big moves. I'll let you guys know how that MLEC trade keeps going. But like always, team, keep building. We'll see you guys a little bit later on Stock Market Movers. Let's go, team. What do you got?